Hello, this is Melissa. I am here to talk to you about our Patreon page. This is a page that you can go to and give us a monthly donation as you listen to our podcast, and you can get bonus content such as getting episodes early, getting bonus episodes, and a bunch of other things. Eventually, we'd like to do some t-shirts and so much more. So if you're interested, no pressure, you can go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/messybunmamas podcast. Again, that's patreon.com/messybunmamas podcast. In a fitting manner, there is a coffee membership, a cold brew membership, and an espresso membership. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on that page, and thank you so much for listening.
Messy Bun Mamas. I'm Joe. I'm John. I am Malcolm. Wow.
Hello. Welcome to episode 7.
Yay, number 7.
That means we've almost had 2 months under our belts.
2 months. Right? Can you believe that?
No.
Me either.
But I am enjoying doing it, so I'm really excited.
Me too.
So hopefully you all are enjoying it just as much as we are.
You enjoy hearing us talk as much as we enjoy hearing ourselves talk.
Hopefully you think we're just as hilarious as I think we are.
You know, I actually had a conversation with somebody that texted me yesterday and said, why am I laughing so hard just at listening to the intro? And I texted back and I'm like, because we're funny. I said, thank you for confirming what Melissa and I say to each other all the time.
All the time. When we listen after it's edited, we'll text each other and be like, we're kind of funny.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear somebody else say it besides just us patting each other on the back.
Right. So true. So what's your mama moment for the week?
Okay. So my mama moment for the week. I'm not like a super overly spiritual person, and by that I mean I don't like see the devil and everything, and I don't like.
You don't walk up to people and go, hi, my name is Michelle, I'm a Christian.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've got this decision to make. Should I make macaroni and cheese or should I make this? That's, so the other morning I woke up randomly in the middle of the night and I had to pee. And I'm like,
because babies.
And I'm like, I hate, especially now, because it's 0 degrees in the middle of the night. But then I have to try to sneak down the steps and then sneak back up them and go down the steps and go back up them, which is a whole nother subject. So I'm like, oh God, please, you gotta help my bladder out. I do not want to get up right now. And so I was just going to close my eyes and I was going to go back to sleep. And I very honestly just kind of felt this nudge, get up. I'm like, oh, I don't have to pee that bad. I just don't have to pee that bad. And I very honestly felt just something say to me, you'll be happy you did.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, really, I don't have to pee that bad. I just don't think I don't have to pee that bad. So I went back and forth a couple times with this little nudge, and I was like, fine, better be something amazing. But I did think, well, maybe Dan will be coming home soon, because I haven't even looked at the time yet. Maybe Dan will be coming home soon and he had a rough day and needs me or something.
Yeah.
And so
so intuition was very strong at this
moment. Right. So I got up and I was like, oh, he is going to be home pretty soon. He was going to be home in about 15 minutes. So I was like, all right, so maybe right. So I go downstairs, go to the bathroom, get back upstairs, and I just lay in bed and wait, because I know at this point, even if I start to drift off to sleep, I'm going to wake up. And he comes in the door, and I hear him set the alarm. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe he's not letting our dog out, because the diabetic dog needs to go out like every 5 hours. And so I'm like, all right, whatever. I guess I'll deal with whatever's down there when I wake up in the morning. And then a couple minutes later, I hear him open the basement door to go let her out. And I'm like, maybe I didn't hear it right. Maybe he didn't set the alarm. So I just sat up in bed just in case. And sure enough, he opens the door to the outside and the alarm starts doing the beep, beep. So I was able to like run downstairs and turn that alarm off before it started screaming, because the box is like right between Joe's room and our room.
That would have been horrible.
It would have been so hot. So I like got back into bed and I'm like, hey, wink, God. Thanks. Because if I had woken up from a sleep, I would have never gotten downstairs before it started screaming. So that was kind of like my mom moment. I know it's not like super amazing, but like I kept my toddler sleeping because I did not.
Whatever you have to do to keep that kid sleeping.
3:45 a.m. is not a time I want to be up with my toddler.
They would love to be up at that time, like asking all the questions.
All
the questions. What is it with that? I'm like, yesterday morning, well, because I had texted you because we were supposed to record yesterday. Like, I had the worst headache in the world. And like, he was the chattiest ever. Hey, mom, blah, 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 blah. And like asking me questions. I had to like think about it. I'm like, can you
just go play video games? Go.
Seriously. Go play your new Mario game. So what about you? Tell me about your mom moment.
Okay, so my mom moment. So there are a lot of times that Belinda and I'll kind of like run errands together, because I hate running errands by myself.
Ditto.
And it's really hard for Mike and I to run errands together because, you know, there's a lot of little humans and I don't want to drag them all out. So lots of times Belinda and I'll run errands together, and our go-to person that we bring with us is Malcolm, because we always try and bring one of them with us just to be fair. But Malcolm's like, he's just so happy to like come with us normally that it's just like, come on, there you go. Right. Well, the last time we went to the store, Rayla always wants to go, but it's just like, I mean, really want to go. Like, we had to run to Meijer. I had to get one thing. It was going to be like a quick in, quick out, not a big deal, but I was like, fine,
sure,
you can come. Like, you never get to go. And she was like all about it. She like brought me her shoes. She brought me her coat. After I had her shoes and coat on, she was like standing at the door, just like with her like arms ready to start marching to the car.
So cute.
And just like waiting for us and just like jabbering about whatever. I don't know. I'm sure she was saying she was excited to go.
Right.
But it was like, it warmed my heart so much. And then like she got in the car, and what I thought would have been like, oh, she's gonna fall asleep, like this is really dumb to bring her, like Malcolm would have enjoyed it more, like whatever. Well, she was awake the whole way there and just like jabbering as me and Belinda were talking, and she was just like
having her side conversation, right?
And then in the store, like Belinda was like playing a game with her with the cart, and she was just like laughing, and it was like 8:30 at night. It was past her bedtime. She should have been in bed, but it was just like you could hear her laughter through the whole store, and you could just see people's faces as you hear this baby laugh. And I was just like, look at you just making people's day,
right? Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. And it was just like, it was such a small thing, because I mean, it's so hard to show individualized attention to kids, especially now when it's like you can't really go anywhere, you can't really do anything.
Right.
But and John never wants to go anywhere. So I think like I mistake John's mentality about the whole thing for Rayla's, because Malcolm loves going with us wherever if we're going to the gas station, we're not even getting out of the car. He doesn't care.
He just wants to ride.
He's a joiner. He will join in anything.
I love Malcolm. I really do.
And Rayla she was so excited. Like, we got back in the car afterwards and she just talked the entire way home. And then she got home and, Mike was like, "Did you have fun?" And she was like, like for like 10 minutes. I was just like, yes, she did.
That's amazing.
It was so nice, because I was just like, oh, look at you. Because I guess like Malcolm was around 2 when we started, bringing him out with us, which I guess kind of got him in the habit of like going out with us. Now, I will say, like, I've been very lucky in that I've never had to bring all 3 of my children in the grocery store at the same time. Neither has my husband.
Right.
So it's just not a normal occurrence for us. It kind of is a treat to like go out.
Right.
But I don't know. It was nice just to see, like, it's one of those moments that's like so exciting just to see her grow, but so sad just to see her grow.
Right. Like, I want to cry because you're getting bigger, but I'm also proud because you're getting bigger.
Right?
Right.
Yes. It meant a lot to me. It warmed my heart.
That's sweet. I love that mom moment.
Right? All right. So we will get back to talking about masks after this short break. Hello, this is Melissa. I am here to talk to you about our Patreon page. This is a page that you can go to and give us a monthly donation as you listen to our podcast, and you can get bonus content such as getting episodes early, getting bonus episodes, and a bunch of other things. Eventually, we'd like to do some t-shirts and so much more. So if you're interested, no pressure, you can go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/messybunmamas podcast. Again, that's patreon.com/messybunmamas podcast. In a fitting manner, there is a coffee membership, a cold brew membership, and an espresso membership. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on that page, and thank you so much for listening. All right, so welcome back. So the topic for today is masks with kids. And I want to put like
disclaimer.
A disclaimer. I was like, oh my gosh, what is that word? A disclaimer out there that I don't want to make it sound like I'm debating the legitimacies of COVID, whether or not it's real or not, or it's a conspiracy or not. I literally want to talk about, how my kiddos wearing masks is affecting them, or other people wearing masks is affecting my kids. I haven't spoken to a parent who isn't concerned about this. So hopefully you guys are feeling some kindred feels. But I will say that I did research and it actually made me feel a lot better. So hopefully this will help you too. All right. So I'm going to go through some of my research and then we can kind of go over our feelings generally about it. So in an article titled, "Are You Happy or Sad? How Wearing Face Masks Can Impact Children's Ability to Read Emotions," by Rachel Katz and Helen Shui Hadani. Children rely on their caregivers' facial expressions and tone of voice to regulate their response towards people in new situations. This development of this emotional communication is referred to as social referencing and occurs between infancy and early preschool years. One of the ways, they actually have 5 ways that you can kind of like get around this, even with kids and adults wearing masks. I'm going to highlight 3 ways.
Okay.
One of them is by playing peekaboo with your mouth.
Okay.
So cover your mouth and then take the mask away to reveal a smile. So they kind of get used to correlating how your eyes look during an emotion with if it's covered up. Explain to your child that you'll be smiling even though your face isn't visible. Play Guess My Expression. Ask your child to watch your eyes and eyebrows. Try to make them expressive as your mouth. Think about the term smiling with your eyes. Ask your child to guess how you're feeling from the expression of your eyes and eyebrows. You can also reveal how the expression in the eyes matches your mouth by taking off your face mask. So this one's really funny because like everybody always says that my mom and I, like, we talk with our eyebrows. So there's like no poker face whatsoever on this face.
Agreed.
And
I mean, ditto is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Yes.
And the thing is like, I guess I never really thought of it that way. Because I've had people say to me like, wow, you're really like, you can tell your emotions from your eyebrows. I'm just like, I know. Or people are like, you have a very, I had somebody say to me once, she was like, you have a very facial face. And I was like, okay. And she's like, no,
what do you mean by that? You're right.
I mean, like, literally, I can tell exactly what you're feeling by your face. And I mean, I realize that not everybody's that way. But it was a little encouraging that you don't necessarily need the mouth in order to respond emotionally.
Right.
And then talk to your child through your mask. The mask will muffle your voice, so it's helpful to find a speaking volume that your child can hear. The next article is by Ashley Wilson, who's a communications specialist in the Department of Pediatrics. She says, encourage your child to look in the mirror while wearing a mask to see how different expressions appear. Make a game of covering your mouth, making a face, and guessing what expression is under the cover. Always make sure to use gestures and thumbs up or shoulder shrugs to emphasize your emotions, especially when you're in public. And then the last article is by Vanessa Lobu. I feel like no matter what way I say that name, I'm going to say it wrong. She's an assistant professor of psychology at Rutgers University. And she said that at the age of 12 months, babies look a lot less at their mother's faces, and they're relying on the tone of her voice much more.
Sure.
In a classic task called Reading the Mind in the Eyes, researchers have been asking for decades whether adults and children can identify the emotional facial expressions of others just from their eyes, which is essentially what we have to do when someone's wearing a mask. Adults typically do pretty well in this task, and they are just as accurate as identifying emotion expressions from a person's eyes than a person's whole face. Children as young as 6 and 7 are also pretty good at this task for most emotions, especially for anger and sadness. So, ironically, there wasn't a ton of information out there.
Right.
Like, I thought it was interesting because a lot of this doesn't give me a ton of information.
Right.
But it was encouraging that it's not as bad as I thought it was. Because I'm terrified that, like, my kids are going to grow up all, like, socially and emotionally stunted because they're not used to seeing anybody's face.
Right.
Like, it's a real fear.
It is a fear.
I mean, add that on top of the fact that, I have a teenager who can hardly communicate with anybody verbally,
right,
or face to face because it's all the awkward. Add this that with the masks, I'm just like, wow, we are not doing any service to our future generations. We're just kicking them off a cliff. Like, there you go, buddy. Have fun.
Right. Figure it out.
Right? And the thing is, I mean, I guess if the intention is that everybody's going to work remote and nobody's going to socially interact with each other ever again, okay. But, like, I mean, these people have to get married.
Right.
They have to have friends.
Right.
I mean, even if they're not going to be working in the workplace, which I don't believe that that's actually going to stay that way. I know I've read a lot of, like, articles and information about people saying that this is the new normal, but I really don't think that it is.
Things will go back.
Yeah. I mean, it might take time
Mm-hmm.
for sure, but I mean, there's so much that you gain from being interactive with people. And
Yes.
I think that, you know, they're missing out. I mean, I have, you know, John's teachers just like, well, have him, you know, video call people to try and get that social interaction that he needs.
Right.
What? He video calls people all the time. Let me tell you what he does. He calls them on Facebook Messenger because Facebook Messenger has games.
Right.
You can, like, catch pizza and whatever in your
Right.
mouth.
Hamburgers.
He doesn't actually want to talk to anybody.
He just wants to play the game.
He wants to play the game, which is fine. I mean, it's nice to call, you know, grandparents and have them interact anyway with, you know, the kids, but it's terrifying to me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and especially so Rayla was 9 months when we shut down,
Mm-hmm.
and Malcolm was, you know, 2 years and 9 months. They're almost exactly 2 years apart to the day, 1 day apart,
Mm-hmm.
or 1 day. And it's scary. I'm terrified that they're just going to grow up and God only knows what's going to happen. I mean, I realize that that's like a legitimate fear with everything.
Right.
But I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I'm in between on. Well, I don't know. I'm probably going to do this whole stuttering thing because I'm thinking of the right thing to say because I don't want to upset anybody either way. But I'm for and against them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like in the middle ground of it, and I think that my against it is some of the stuff that you were just talking about is how much is my son missing out on stuff. I mean, because Joe is I don't know how we did it, but two not very social people made this social kid that just loves to talk to people. And so when we're in the stores and stuff, as you said, the masks muffle, and he's just he'll say hello to everyone he passes by. And so many just in normal life, so many people would already pass him by, but now it's hard to even understand everything he's saying. I mean, just a simple
even more
hello. Yeah.
because of the mask.
Because of the masks. And so I don't want him to grow up thinking that people are just outright rude. I mean, some are.
That is a good point though, because like we basically do have to be rude to each other.
Right.
Like if you're respecting the boundaries that have been set forth by the CDC and WHO and whatever, it's like you can't be close to each other.
Right.
You can't talk to each other without a mask. You can't, like, it's gonna raise a bunch of rude people.
Right. Well, just passing by without, and he is not that kid. Like, he thrives on people talking. Right. Like I said, no idea how I did it, but I high five myself and my husband for making it happen.
Yeah.
But because he is very social, so that scares me, because I don't want him to become a not social kid from all of it. Like, well, nobody acknowledges me, so whatever. Yeah. And because we are choosing to homeschool, that's like one of the things everyone, well, how is he going to be socialized? I'm like, he doesn't go to school now, and do you see him? Do you think this is a problem?
Yeah.
And so I don't want this new normal to impact that and people think, oh, because he's homeschooled, he's unsocialized now. I don't think that that's the case. I mean,
It's COVID.
Right. It's
COVID.
COVID. And he struggled super hard. And I'm sure that your kid, well, you talked a little bit about it. And he struggled super hard because he wanted to see his friends. He wanted to get out and see people. He would beg us to take him to the store just so he could see other people.
Right?
He would actually say that, I want to see other people.
Well, and it's not like you can go in the car and go anywhere because there's no people anywhere.
Right.
Nobody's walking down the street. Nobody, like, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, everybody was terrified to leave their houses.
Yeah, now everybody's getting a little bit more relaxed and everybody's kind of like, I'm done. But, I mean, it's so, I guess I didn't think of the rude point because the thing is I feel like kids have such a hard time getting validated in general from grown-ups who aren't their parents or loved ones. And I don't ever want my kids to be meek.
Right.
I don't ever want them to be like concerned about everything coming out of their mouth. But I mean, that really has to be this really has to affect that because I mean, nobody's listening to anybody right now because it's like half the time I can't understand what anybody's saying. Add on any semblance of an accent or a speech impediment or just like a wrong tone of voice. Like I hear like higher pitched voices better than lower pitched voices. I think my husband takes advantage of that and just kind of like mumbles on the regular. But when I was younger, I had like 3 or 4 sets of tubes put in my ears. So like, I don't have bad hearing. It's just certain tones, like I have trouble hearing. And it's like, so when people talk to me in stores, I'm just like, I nod my head because I can't understand what they're saying half the time.
Especially if there's a lot of background noise.
Right. And it's just, that validation for kids has got to be a struggle.
Yeah. I said to my husband when Joe was just getting to be a toddler that I was shocked at the amount of people that could easily just pass by. I mean, obviously, I think he's cute. I would never, ever, ever ignore him. But I have been shocked at the amount of people that already, as you said, will just pass by and completely ignore a kid that's trying to talk to them, or if they're talking to you and the kid is trying to be like, hey, just no acknowledgement at all. But it has gotten, I think, significantly worse. And so that is my concern. I mean, as we had kind of, I had told you offline, I'm not completely against them because through this whole flu season, I mean, we've had one cold in our house,
right?
Which has been super amazing.
Nobody's got like rotavirus or anything like that. It's just like, let's maybe we should wear masks all the time.
So I have struggled back and forth with it, in discussions with my husband saying, man, I'm really impressed that it has kept us from having like lots of colds, which I'm not against ever getting sick because I know that's not realistic.
Yeah, right.
And like you got to have that to help build up your immunities and things like that. But like there was the year right up before Joe got very sick in December 2019. It seemed like he was sick just one on top of the other just all the time, and I was exhausted. I never ever slept. And so it's that desire to sleep at night
always any negative
kind of puts a cap on some of my negative about wearing the masks.
And I feel like that's almost fair though,
right?
Because I mean, I'll agree. my kids haven't really gotten sick. I mean, we are in the thick of, we're recording like very early these episodes. So right now it is the thick of February.
Right.
I mean, we just had weeks of, Texas being shut down because it's too cold. Everybody's pipes are freezing. Right. I mean, we are in the thick of winter, and I swear February is always the worst. I don't know why people are just like, January is the worst, because February is always freezing cold and there's always snow.
January, I think, has like all the snow.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people say they hate January, but I agree. February is where all the negative temps come in for us.
But there's always snow on the ground in February.
Right.
Like, whether it's leftover from January or whatever, there's always snow on the ground, and it's always freaking freezing. Right. It's always cold. Right. Like, and I just, we have gotten barely sick.
Yeah.
Barely. And I mean, when you have 6 people living in a house, somebody is sick all of the time.
Right. And all then it just keeps circling and repeating.
Exactly. And then, it's copy and paste around the whole entire family. By the time it gets to the 6th person, it starts over with the first person because it's mutated to a different sickness by then.
Right.
And but we have not had, and I mean, we've had like a couple, like, congestions or
like the sniffles or a cough. Yep.
Super bad. But it's astounding to me. And it really makes me wonder, like, if this is going to make people more comfortable to wear masks. Because I feel like previously, if you wore a mask in public, people were just like, you're weird.
Right.
Like Howie Mandel weird.
Like
you were like a germaphobe.
Roll my eyes weird. Yeah, right?
But now it's just kind of like, I mean, I feel like it's almost going to be socially acceptable.
Right.
Especially because, like, the masks now are, like, way more fashionable than they were before.
It's so much cooler to wear them.
Right? Like, you got bedazzled ones and ones with sassy things on them and just, like, super interesting masks, where before it was, like, you had a hospital mask.
Right.
That's what you had.
Right.
That's all you had.
Yeah.
So, and it's warmer.
Yes.
I do feel like it's warmer.
I don't take my mask off from the store to the car right now because I'm like, oh, I don't have to wear a scarf. And
my breath will just warm my face.
I will say that is one negative that I have realized. I'm like, wearing masks all the time is, man, does your breath smell like this all the time when you're talking to people? I do a lot more mints now. But yeah, so I guess that's where I stand, is I'm very middle ground on it. Yeah. That I see the benefits of it, but I also see the negatives of doing it all the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely under the mentality of, like, I mean, if there's anything wrong with my kids from now until eternity, I'm just going to blame it on COVID and move on with my life.
Whatever, right?
Just whatever it is.
In 2030.
It
was because of COVID.
Yeah.
I mean.
Because there's just been so much craziness. I mean, on top of, like, the divorce rate skyrocketing, the suicide rate skyrocketing, like, I mean, I've read articles where people were dating for like 3 weeks and they went into quarantine together, and then they just kind of, like, got super serious really quick. And it's like, well, you don't really know each other. You've only been dating for 3 weeks.
Right.
And then, like, sometimes there's babies. Sometimes people just get married. And I'm just like, guys, like, quarantine life is not real life.
Right. You're not together all the time. Yeah, things will change.
Well, and it's just, how is that going to affect relationships when the world does open up again and we're so used? I mean, honestly, I have seen my husband every single day for hours for a year.
Right.
That's not normal for us.
Right.
Because, like, I'm usually running 18,000 places, and, he goes to bed early with the kids. So if they wake up early, he can get a start on things. And I mean, we've definitely been spoiled.
Mhm.
And I don't know what that's going to look like when, I mean, I'm not saying like we're going to get divorced because we never see each other, but like, it's just I
don't disagree with that, because in the summer is normally a time where Dan would get a lot of overtime, but because of COVID and the start of the pandemic, we went into spring and summer without him having any overtime. And then there were some days where they said, "Hey, do you just want to go home early today?"
Yeah.
And so he was home a lot, and we got used to that. It wasn't hard for just Joe to adjust back to him doing all of his overtime. I'm still suffering the impacts of. I do, and I'll even message him. I'm like, "Do you want to come home half day and use a half day of vacation?" He's like, "Michelle, I don't want to use up all my vacation before the end of winter." And so it's that has been very hard, just because you adjust to that type of life. So,
but it's so much more lonely because it's like,
it is.
You got used to them being around, or you got used to being, like in my case, I got used to being around.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, as we start opening back up, I'm not going to be here.
Right.
Like, I'm going to miss everything.
All of this, right?
And I mean, as much as I hate the kids screaming and squawking in the background while I'm working, it's like, I still, like, when I have to go to the bathroom, I get to like look at Rayla and I get to smile, and I get her to smile at me, and I don't know. It's just, but I do, and maybe it's because we live in the Midwest, but you know, when you're like walking down the aisle in a store and you look at somebody and you do that like weird, like smirk, like closed mouth smirk, and you just kind of like nod at them, like, why am I interacting with this human in any way, shape, or form? I just feel like it's like a Midwestern joke that like you just make eye contact with somebody and smile.
Right.
Well, I do that now, and it obviously doesn't reach my eyes because there's no reason for me to be smiling at this person except for the fact that I'm walking down the same aisle with them. And now I do it. I'm just like, how ridiculous do I look that I'm like making extended eye contact with them and they can't see the smile on my face? So they're just like, this person is weird. Like, that's what I feel like. I feel like they're just like, all right, you're weird.
Right. This lady is just staring at me.
Right?
I agree.
The awkward extended eye contact just for the sake of awkward extended eye contact.
Right.
It's fantastic. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that like I said, I think that my fallback, if my kids are messed up in any way, shape, or form, is I'm just gonna blame COVID.
It's not my fault in any way, shape, or form. It's all COVID.
It's got to be a hard world to just grow up in.
It has to be difficult, and that's one of the things that I have said from the very beginning. Is, because we had shut down in March, April, May, and there were so many people, the seniors, they're missing out on this and that. And I completely get that. But in my mind, it was so much harder with a toddler and trying to explain to a crying toddler. I mean, he was 3 at the time. Just,
how do you have a logical conversation with a 3-year-old
about why you can't go see your friends right now? And that it would break my heart. So I hope we're never in that circumstance again.
Right. I totally agree. All right. Well, I hope that was heavy enough for you.
Right.
At the very least, I hope that you don't feel alone in your thoughts.
Indecisions.
Yeah, it's so hard.
It's very tough.
Because on one, I don't want my kids to get sick. I don't want to get sick. I don't,
Yep.
I mean, my in-laws are older, and, my father-in-law is on dialysis, so he's very susceptible to, like, anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the repercussions of making a bad decision right now. Somebody could die.
Right. And that's something that would, I don't know about you, something like that would sit with me forever. Mm-hmm. Like, it would never go away and it would always be in the back of my head.
Well, so Belinda got corona.
Mm-hmm.
Love that I said that. Belinda got corona. And I'm like, okay, well, are you going to quarantine here? Are you going to quarantine? At the time, she was at her grandparents' house. She's like, I think I'll quarantine here. I don't want to, I don't want to feel the salt if I kill Rayla. Which, I mean, she was joking. But, like, it kind of was a very real fear to have. Because Rayla's high risk.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's got weak lungs and RSV and whatever. And I mean, it's not totally outside the realm of possibility that if something like that happened, she could die.
Right.
Which is part of the reason that we've just been so scared.
Right.
All right. So after that super intense topic, what's your recommendation for the week? So
my recommendation is going to be something super fun and messy. Again. But I saw this idea on somebody was doing it on Instagram. And I actually saw a lot of good articles, videos on Pinterest as well. But it's taking bubble wrap, and I have been so fortunate to get packages lately that have had bubble wrap, and Joel loves bubble wrap.
I love
bubble wrap as well, but you don't see it as much anymore.
That's true.
And so I was very excited when I got it. I was like, oh, there's got to be something fun. So then, like, sure enough, like 2 or 3 days later, I saw this video of somebody doing this, but they took bubble wrap and cut like shapes out of the bubble wrap, like hearts, triangles, whatever. And then they let the kids like paint different colors or all of one color on the bubble wrap and then press it down on paper. So then it has like that textured art look to it.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, this is so cool. So I have all this. To be honest, we haven't actually done it yet. I just cut all the bubble wrap stuff out yesterday. And so we are going to be doing that just because it looks like it will be pretty simple to do. I mean, I say messy, but we typically use washable paint.
I was going to say, we use paint a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's not weird on a weeknight to just like kind of pull it out, let them mess around with it for 30 minutes and put it away.
Right.
Because we have a lot of like painted rock kits and that sort of stuff. So I don't know. Paint's just kind of normal.
Right. And I'm not, and because we use the washable paint, like if he gets it on his clothes or whatever, just right. And there are times like if he has something nicer on, I will make him wear like his paint shirt or whatever. Yeah. But usually I'm like, whatever.
It's true.
So that
I want to change you less than I care about that outfit.
So that is my recommendation, just because it does look like it's going to be fun. And if you have the bubble wrap, it comes in the mail or whatever, it was free. So whatever, inexpensive. So
take some pictures and post them. That'll
I will.
Like, yeah, that'll be nice to see for sure. So my recommendation is this Instagram page that I found that I find hilarious. So it's called Parents Dictionary.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, this is the one where they like define stuff, right?
It's super sarcastic. I love it. So I'm going to read some for you guys. I feel like if you're in any level of parenting, like this is...
You should appreciate it.
Yes. Okay. So what it does is it gives a word. It gives, what type of word it is, noun, adjective, whatever, verb. And then it like kind of gets sarcastic. So just as a prelude. Snow, noun, nom nom, a delicious snack. Phantom crying, noun, ... When you're not sure whether you can hear the baby crying or if you're just imagining it.
Every night. Still.
Fridge, noun, barely lovely. A kitchen appliance decorated with 5 million stickers that will never come off. Bathwater, noun, sip. A refreshing drink, just a hint of urine.
So true.
TV remote, noun, ? If I were a toddler, where would I put it? Rock bottom, noun. Ew. When there's baby poop on your sleeve, and you just roll it up. See, it's funny.
Yes, it is funny. The bathwater one. Oh, Joe and I
Every
go around.
time they do it, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, literally, you're drinking your
Your
own
dirty water,
filth.
right? Gross.
So yeah, so it's an Instagram page. It's called Parents Dictionary, and they're pretty funny. I
That
do
is
enjoy
funny.
it, and they're really interactive on their page and stuff. So I did private message them, and they are planning on making their funniness into a book at some point. So
Oh, nice.
we'll keep an eye out for that and let you know if that ever comes to fruition, because
That would be great. To have
or a care
parenting
calendar.
work.
Yeah, socks. Yeah, socks always get lost. I just feel like there's so much you can do with that.
Yes.
So
Because there is a definite parenting definition for so many words.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So it's funny. They make me laugh because I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's the story of my life every day.
Every day.
So,
The snow one.
right.
Please stop eating the snow.
See, I struggle with that one because I loved eating snow when I was a kid. It was just so clean and so fresh. But like at this point, it hasn't snowed in like a week and a half.
Right.
So like, I mean, don't eat the snow now.
Right.
But a week and a half ago, it was totally fine. But I
The
guess
day
how
that
do
it
you,
fell,
how
right.
do you find
Define
that,
it, right?
How do you find that like
Right.
area?
What's
of-
the cutoff? The expiration date. What's the snow expiration date?
So true. So, all right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
And we hope you had fun, and we will talk to you next week.
Have a great week.
Bye.
I am Messy Palmheads.
This is Messy Fun Mama's podcast.
This is Messy Poop.
Messy buns, you silly. Hello, this is Melissa. I am here to talk to you about our Patreon page. This is a page that you can go to and give us a monthly donation as you listen to our podcast, and you can get bonus content such as getting episodes early, getting bonus episodes, and a bunch of other things. Eventually, we'd like to do some t-shirts and so much more. So if you're interested, no pressure, you can go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/messybunmamas podcast. Again, that's patreon.com/messybunmamas podcast. In a fitting manner, there is a coffee membership, a cold brew membership, and an espresso membership. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on that page, and thank you so much for listening.
Messy Bun Mamas. I'm Joe. I'm John. I am Malcolm. Wow.
Hello. Welcome to episode 7.
Yay, number 7.
That means we've almost had 2 months under our belts.
2 months. Can you
Right?
believe that?
No.
Me either.
cannot. But I am enjoying doing it, so I'm really excited.
Me too.
So hopefully you all are enjoying it just as much as we are.
You enjoy hearing us talk as much as we enjoy hearing ourselves talk.
Hopefully you think we're just as hilarious as I think we are.
You know, I actually had a conversation with somebody that texted me yesterday and said, why am I laughing so hard just at listening to the intro? And I texted back and I'm like, because we're funny. I said, thank you for confirming what Melissa and I say to each other all the time.
All the time. When we listen after it's edited, we'll text each other and be like, we're kind of funny.
Right?